All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We will have a couple of guests late in the program. I know Schroeder would join us about what's going on in Baton Rouge. Nungesser, something to do with the what's going on in Louisiana. Some stuff going on for the next few weeks. So we'll talk about that. If we have the summit with Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is.
Kim Jong-un.
Un is. I read a thing where Trump said that he trusts him, and I thought, wow.
I don't think Trump means that, though. I think he's just trying to.
I know. I think you have to be diplomatic about it.
Yeah,
you're trying to give the guy a chance.
Yeah,
is what you're doing. I understand that. I wouldn't trust that.
Trust and verify.
I trust him more than I do Dennis Rodman.
Man, that interview this morning was something else.
That's the worst I've ever seen on TV in my life.
Yeah. Do you want the blackberries or the kiwi?
I want the blackberries.
I'm doing this on the air during my program. I'm charging him for time. These advertisers are paying for good time. You're talking about kiwi on a deal. I'll tell you. All right, anyway. All right, Ian. Take care, buddy. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hot. I saw it, and I'm just laughing at this guy crying. Rodman, they asked him a question. What made you pick out North Korea as a place to... He said, I don't know. I just went there for basketball.
Oh, man.
That's what he said. I don't know. I just went there for basketball, and just some good people. And he's crying, and I'm going, wow. Kim, that little dictator might shoot bombs, or he might shoot missiles today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
and
don't get me wrong. I am not cutting Trump. Trump's tried to do something way more than that. What was that last president we had, the worst thing that ever came on earth? Barack Obama. I mean, gee whiz, what a joke.
And then they're asking him about if Kim Jong-un speaks English. He's just talking about how Kim Jong-un wants to get to America. And he's trying so hard.
Oh, he wants to be a regular guy, come to America on vacation.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a regular guy. And then, meanwhile, back home, he killed another 20 people today, or he put 40 more people in jail, or he depressed. I mean, it's just Rodman. What a joke. And that's a Hall of Fame basketball player. By the way, he's a heck of a basketball player. I'll give him that. But, this is what you get with these people who want to be professional politicians, former athletes, who really don't even know what they're talking about. This Rodman, he's being interviewed. I mean, they're actually interviewing the guy. And you're talking about nut. You're talking about nutting up. Dennis Rodman. My God. Oh, what made you go to North Korea and pick them out? I don't know. I went over there for some basketball stuff, and I started hanging out with the dictator and having fun. He's just a fun guy. Yeah. He's like a big kid. I'm going. That's on national TV, folks. That's on national TV. And we're taking this thing serious. And when they put Dennis Rodman on there, how can you take it serious?
By the way, I got a kick out of the Moon translator. When Dennis Rodman would say something like the one you just mentioned too, he said, "Oh, Kim Jong-un's just a fun-loving guy." Moon said, "Yep, you know what that means."
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
I know it. I know what Rodman's doing. I know what they're doing. But anyway, it's anyway. No, proud of Trump for doing what he's trying to do. If it does work, but listen, the media coverage. You just see this. Donald Trump and his handshake. He looked like he was really nervous. Donald Trump. I mean, everything Trump does, they throw in the garbage. That's why they don't talk about the economy. Donald Trump, this is the press does. Donald Trump went to the bathroom today, and he stayed in the restroom 13 seconds more than he normally does. I wonder if he's having problems. This is what the media does. Kim Jong, among other things that he brought with him, he brought his own commode. I'm sorry, Brad. He brought his own toilet. I mean, we're dealing with a brainiac here. He brought his own toilet.
And you know what's sad is in that country, as bad off as it is, you probably have people dreaming of being the commode handlers for Kim Jong-un.
Commode handler. Brandon, you better be careful. They call you the handler. You handle me, they might start calling you the commode handler.
I don't handle commodes.
I know, but you handle me. So, see what they
the
call
day
it.
you require me to carry your throne around, that's it, Moon.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm saying you just You deal with me, they call you the handler, and so you know they may call you the commode handler because you're handling me. That's all. Kim brings his own toilet to the summit with Trump. And they interviewing Dennis Rodman on national TV about this the summit. He's just a crying. I don't know if he does drugs, but I mean,
we hadn't figured that one out yet, Moon.
I mean, he's just sitting there crying like he's some kind of big diplomat, and of course he's in a T-shirt and blue jeans, earrings in all parts of his face. I'm just sitting there laughing, going, "My God, is this what we've turned to?" It just I can't help it, folks. To me, I was sitting there watching comedy at its best, and then I pick up the article when Kim Jong brings his own toilet. I said, "That's nice." Brings his own toilet paper. He brought it all. So anyway, I don't know who the official wiper was, but we're not going to look for that. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. All right. Continue to watch this stuff in Baton Rouge, and I'll be glad when it's over between you and me. I know you will, too. And remember when I told y'all John Paul Cousin raising taxes, y'all? And made the comment to me, we got them now. We got them where we want them now. I told a young man, he probably didn't listen to me. I'm sure he didn't. He said, "Oh, no." I said, "You don't have them, they have you." Well, there was an article written by Tim Morris, the Times-Picayune. They're dealing with the budget and what's going on in Louisiana. And at the last part of the article, Tim Morris, if I can find it, it's about 27 pages when it's printed. Quote in the last article, Edwards may finally have lawmakers where he wants them. Totally opposite of what raising taxes y'all Cousin told me. Totally opposite. And when I told a young man, no, they got you, because anytime you do temporary taxes, they come back with permanent taxes. And then they come back and convince everybody in Louisiana that the permanent taxes are the only solution. Edwards may finally have lawmakers where he wants them. And this is the exact words that came out of my mouth. But he didn't listen. The 1 cent sales tax that was temporary for 27 months that you've been paying for over 2 years makes it easier for that side to say, well, we're not raising taxes. We're just continuing what we've done. We only want a half of that now. You know why they only want a half? Because they got $302 million worth of income taxes out of people that itemized already. And it's called the Trump tax cut, where we got a break. And Bell Edwards in the legislature, and where it was the way this thing was set up, that we've already given them $300 million more of income taxes. And it's never enough. So that's why they can handle a half. They can handle a half of it because they already got a big chunk of it back by taking our income taxes that they never said thank you. Nobody talks about that in the media, about how, well, the people have already given. And that's a permanent tax. Well, take that back, Brandon. I think the Trump tax cut was a 10-year tax cut. So that's not even a permanent tax. So I think it was 18 years, whatever the tax cut was for. They did not make it permanent. This is the other little secret nobody's talking about it. Trump gave tax breaks to businesses. Okay? We had a big business tax cut. I don't know if that's going to benefit Louisiana more, too. And it might. But I just want to say it. Not that this article was perfect by no means. Okay? But it did hit it on the head. We'll see if the governor, we wouldn't be going through this and going through this and going through this if the governor didn't think he's still going to win this. I pray Lance Harris and the gang will hold on the third cent. Third cent is plenty. plenty of money. We've already given them $302 million worth of income taxes. So a third is plenty. And you better be calling your lawmakers and telling them that, because I promise you, the side begging for more money, they're calling. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, we're joined now by Lieutenant Governor, great state of Louisiana, Billy Nungesser joins us. Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Moon. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, okay. Got a lot of tourist stuff coming on. We're going to get to that in a second. We jump back over on this side. I know, and I did it too, Billy. Challenge you on what you were doing with the governor, raising taxes. A lot of people have been upset with what they thought is you coming forward and helping him basically support taxes. You say that's not what you did. Explain it to me.
Right. And I sent you a copy of my speech.
I got it.
And I went to Lafayette to express the importance of tourism and the money it generates, an economic engine for the state. And also, when I talk about tourism and people say, well, you're cutting tops, I wanted people to understand tourism is very important to the state, but it should never take precedence over education, healthcare, and fixing our roads. And that's all I talked about. I worked for Goldwater, pulling a wagon around Ronald Reagan. I've been a Republican my whole life, never been for higher taxes. As a matter of fact, I graciously went before committee both years as lieutenant governor and said, I'll accept my cuts. We're cutting money, saving taxes. And through our foundation, one day we will need no taxes to support our state parks. What bothers me is when fellow Republicans, we didn't learn from the governor's race. We wouldn't be even discussing this had we not had Republicans beating up on each other in the governor's race. And the 11th commandment by Ronald Reagan is, do not criticize your fellow Republicans. I don't believe you have to agree with everything I do, but even the fact that Jeff Landry's PAC is putting money behind a negative thing from the Hayride on me is unthinkable. I don't agree with a lot. I don't agree with the Harris bill. I thought we were giving it away. I didn't go on the radio and beat up on my fellow Republicans for supporting it, but I told them I didn't agree with them. It's just unthinkable that we start this criticizing and untruth about the highest-ranking Republican in the state. That is not true.
Well, no, my question is, and I would just ask you bluntly, you got to know when you went, hugged the governor, you speak with him, that was a pep rally for him, Billy. That was a pep rally for higher taxes. He had used health care, had used nursing homes. Now he was using TOPS. He was using the universities. It looked like, and no matter what you say it is, perception's reality. And the perception of a lot of people, no, but the perception is that you were supporting the governor as a high-ranking Republican. And that's what the perception was. I'm just being blunt with you. Now, I don't know about the Landry and all that stuff. That's news to me. But the fact is it looked like that.
Well, I went there to talk about the great things for Louisiana. And as you know me, Moon, I don't miss an opportunity to promote Louisiana, the good things we're doing. And when people come into this state, we don't ask them if they're Republican or Democrat. We welcome all tourists. And when I agreed to go, I talked to Mike Strain. He was going. I thought all the elected officials were going. I didn't know this was being boycotted by the Republicans or whatever it was supposed to be. But I went there as lieutenant governor of the great state of Louisiana to talk about the importance of tourism and about that the lieutenant governor's budget has been cut by more than 50% over the last 12 years, and we're still showing record numbers. And that's all I said in my speech. I didn't support higher taxes. So if people want to twist the story, they have a right to do that. But never did I say, and everybody assumed it was a pep rally for higher taxes. That ain't what I went there to say, and that's not what I said.
Listen, I understand what you're saying. I'm just telling you the perception. Billy, you've been in politics way longer than me. Perception becomes reality with people. It did in the governor's race. The perception in the governor's race was that David Vitter was doing this last week, and they piled on top of it. And you're right. They had a couple of Republicans got mad, knifed him in the back, and I understand the story. But I'm just telling you from this boy's perspective, and I'm not even a Republican, is that was the concern, that was the perception. I heard from it probably as many people as you had. Good, bad, ugly. But you do have the speech out there. Do you have it where people can go read it?
We'll put it online.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I take people by their word, and I'll answer any criticism. But the story was put out that I was for higher taxes, and so you can't take that speech and interpret that unless you're trying to dog the lieutenant governor.
Okay.
And for any statewide or elected Republican to do that is unfair to me. I didn't go on the radio and blast all the Republicans that supported giving Harris a 30-year extension for building a hotel. And when you got to hire every lobbyist in Baton Rouge, it probably ain't good for Louisiana. But I didn't go on there and dog anybody. It's their decision. I did make my position on that bill known. But we got to work together. So the unfair criticism that I'm for higher taxes is a lie, and that's what I called it.
Okay. All righty, let's jump gears. Louisiana Seafood Cook-Off is next Tuesday in Lafayette. Talk about this. How can people get involved?
I hope to see you there, man. It's a great competition. Last year we moved it to Lafayette. Two reasons. One is to help boost the economy in Lafayette, but also it's the middle of the state. And I live there in River Ranch, so it's a short drive for me. But it gives us an opportunity to pull chefs from all over the state. Great competition. Last year we crowned our first queen, Bonnie Bro, who opened her own restaurant in Bro Bridge there. We've got two chefs from Lafayette, hometown favorites, and it'll be a great event to watch the competition.
All righty. Also, I guess you got some new tourism numbers out, huh?
Yeah, I tell you, we had another record-breaking year. And, Moon, we only had 500,000 more visitors in 17 from 16, but we went from $1 billion in taxes to $1.8 billion. That means they're staying longer, spending more money, and now with those direct flights into New Orleans, there's a real opportunity to get those international visitors to see more of Louisiana. And that $1.8 billion equals over $1,000 per family in Louisiana in taxes that you and I didn't have to pay. So the sky's the limit because we are focusing on more than just New Orleans. We want those people that visit New Orleans to see all of Louisiana, and it's working, and they're staying longer and spending more money, and we're very excited about the future in tourism. We're seeing new hotels going up all over. We're seeing new attractions. And we're seeing some of these little family airboat tours and adventure companies really growing into successful businesses.
By the way,
so the small businesses that we're helping promote are really growing across Louisiana, and we're excited about it.
I fish Henderson a lot, and those tourist places, I put in at one. I don't go to the public land, I go to the private land. And those tour boats are always running out of there with people. And some of them are not from this area because they're looking at us kind of funny when we fishing and all that stuff. My favorite tour boat one was when they came by and I had about a 3-pound bass and I put it in and they stopped and took pictures and clapped. I thought it was pretty good.
If you catching 3-pound bass, I got a TV show I want you to go on for Louisiana. We do a little show and we send it through social media around the country, and it's bringing fishermen to our lakes and the coast and our rivers to fish from all over the world. And I went out with him the other day and caught some redfish. I'm going to get you to go on a bass trip and show that 3-pound bass, because that'll surely work to bring fishermen to Louisiana.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, last thing. I know we talk about making movies here and film studies. Talk a little bit about the movies. What does that industry do? I know at one time it was booming. I know it had to do with tax credits, but what's going on in that business right now?
You know, I'm always concerned about whether the tax credits are worth the money. But after realizing so many people come here because of a movie or TV show they saw, and I hate to do studies, but we did a study to know what does the film industry have, what impact on tourism. And 9% of the people that come to Louisiana come because of something they've seen on TV or a movie. That's $1.3 billion in revenues for tourism, a little over 5 million people. NCIS, Ducks Dynasty. We are now working on a movie trail around Louisiana, which we will bring to China this year, because they love to go where movies were shot and where people were shot, like Bonnie and Clyde in Arcadis. And we believe this movie trail is going to encourage people not only to come to Louisiana, but go see all the neat places where movies were shot around our great state. And that study just backs it up that people do watch and want to go where those movies were shot.
Yeah. All right, that's about all the time we got left. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Billy, we'll talk to you later. Good luck.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has it. Hotline, if you'd like to be part of the program. More to come right after this. How y'all all? Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. A beautiful day. Beautiful day. Even in Louisiana, what a beautiful day. All right, let's jump gears. State Treasurer John Schroder joins us. John, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I hadn't talked to you in a long time.
Man, let me tell you something. You can ask my wife. You have not missed much. She'll be the first to tell you ain't missed a whole lot, John. But anyway, great to hear from you. A lot going on. You were a representative for so many years. You were in the budget battles. You seen your buddies battle, rightfully so, battling in the right direction, but getting beat up by the press and people. I know Lance Harris. Not only did they write one of the dumbest stories I ever seen about a bill that he tried to get through. By the way, it was all open for everybody to see. But then the sheriff getting on him, and I just your comments on it. You've been there, done that, because they in a fight. And by the way, last thing, the biggest budget we've ever had in the history of Louisiana, and it's not enough.
No, and look, you're right, Moon. I've been in these battles for a long time, and I'm still very engaged in it. But we cannot control the growth of this government, and at some point in time, we got to say enough is enough. Government is growing at anywhere between, whether you count the state general fund and all the federal money, between 9% and upwards of 24% in 2 years, if you count all the federal money. You can't raise taxes enough to keep up with the way this structure is built. And you've heard me talk about this for years, that until you fix structurally how you allow it to grow, you will never have enough tax money for this structure, ever.
No.
And that's not a Democrat issue. That's not a Republican issue. That's a issue that's been there a long time, and guys like me and Brett Guyman and others have been fighting this for a long time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If you're just joining us, State Treasurer John Schroder, my special guest. By the way, he was an elected official and a representative for many years in Baton Rouge. He's seen the fights, and and he's shouting from the top of the mountain. You can't sustain this. We now know over the last 10 to 14 years, depending on what numbers you use, our state government has grown twice our economy. That's a fact. Now we look up, while everybody seems to be booming, if you look at numbers, GDP numbers, let's take that, our GDP has been down, not 1 year, but 2 years. Now, if it's been down 2 years, that means, and we know our businesses are shrinking. We know the amount of business is shrinking. We know we got our migration problem. We know we have a 2% decline in real wages. How can you keep going back to the taxpayers? By the way, we lost 2 congressmen over the last 20, 30 years. How can you keep going back to the people and saying y'all not paying enough?
Well, I guess it depends on where you come from. I mean, this governor believes that you aren't paying enough, and the citizens of Louisiana aren't paying enough. And you know what really bothers me is how they make it seem like guys like you and I and the Republicans don't care about people.
Yep.
Because we aren't willing to raise your taxes. I mean, that's sinful to me, to create that narrative. I know a lot of people do a lot of good things in our community and across the entire state. If this is a mathematics problem, and it's a bad one. So you can't allow government to grow at a clip of 6 or 9%. Personal wealth is only growing a little more than 1%, and just keep going back to the well. At some point, you break the backs of the taxpayers who are going to work every day. You're penalizing them for going to work, doing the things they're supposed to do. You're just going to kick them down. And as you said earlier, our economy is not growing like it is across the. I read an article yesterday in Terrebonne Parish region, 16,000 jobs down. But let's raise our taxes. That's a good solution.
Well, it's amazing to watch this. I want you to think about it. If your GDP is down for 2 years, there's no growth. There's no growth in the private sector. It's negative growth. And John, that's what bothers me, that I can't be the only one watching this. I can't. They have to be, even Democrats and Republicans alike, they have to be seeing this and going, holy cow, our economy's shrinking. We need to do something different. But we're not doing something different. We're doing the same thing. John, we got to change this attitude of, okay, government needs and the private sector doesn't. I mean, it's just no way it works in the long run.
No, look, Moon, I agree, which is one of the major reasons I ran for state treasurer, so I could be on a bigger stage, create the narrative. I think most people get when you show them. You know, it's one thing to talk about it, but when I can show you in data, in a nice little colored picture of what the growth of government looks like, what your personal growth looks like, it is so unsustainable. It's laughable, and you don't have to be very intelligent to see it and understand it.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It's very challenging right now for us. When you're reading about the economies in other states, give me an example. We're trying to make government be the engine, and the private sector comes along behind it. Midland, Texas, booming oil and gas, $140,000 for some people just driving trucks. And they interviewed the Midland mayor. The Midland mayor's sales taxes is up 34% because the private sector is doing so well. Government sector is really growing. That's how it works. It doesn't work the way we're doing it. We're trying to let government be the driving train, the driving force on our economy. It's not worked in any state, community, country, anywhere in the world. But yet that's what we're trying to do. And that's it's just frustrating to me because I'm watching this and nobody's talking about changing it.
Right. Well, some of us are talking about changing it, but you make a very good point. You know, I don't turn to government for economic development, and we want to turn, and that's just not at the state level. You can see it in the local governments now. Everybody wants to get into economic development. When we as citizens have to rely on government for economic development, we're in trouble.
Yeah, but that's what we're doing, John. Let me ask you a question.
No question about it.
You sitting at the Treasury. Are there some danger signs that you see right now, or do you see some positive things happening that's going to help us?
No, I don't see anything positive. We're getting into more debt. And what we're doing is we're cutting into our operations it's fundamentally broken. So this is what happens. Because of the way civil service works, and let's face it, Moon, this is a conversation that's difficult to have,
sure,
and nobody wants to have it. Government, really, the expense to the taxpayers to a large extent is for people. It's for salaries and it's for benefits and retirement and health care. That's where the majority of the cost comes from. So the reason nobody wants to cut anything is because you're really talking about getting rid of somebody's job. And if you think back to the governor's race, you never heard that discussion.
Nope.
But in my department this year, when I got elected, well, last year, but when I took over for this budget cycle, I had to cut my operations $486,000 to pay for salary increases and related benefits. Now, I'm not saying my staff doesn't deserve it because they work very hard. But in the difference between what happens in government and the private world, if in your world and mine, there's no way we could have done that.
No.
That's impossible. But government continues to do that, and that's where you see the growth.
Yep.
Because it happens almost every year.
But it's doing it in an economy that's negative GDP, which is how we grade our economy on 50 states in the whole country. I know the country's doing better, but we're the only ones with 2 years negative growth. And government was already outpacing us 2-1. I don't know what the outpace is now because we're looking at a record budget, John.
So all the cost of government continue to go up every year. Doesn't matter what the economy's doing. Actually, the worse the economy's doing, the more need you have for government. which is a bad formula. It's like I said, it's not sustainable. But we have a governor in office right now who believes that government is the answer and the cure-all to everything. And I don't believe that. I believe that we should be taking care of a lot of these things in our own communities and not relying on state government to do it.
Quick question before I take a break. I'll keep you one more segment if I can. Let's say the government, they have a special session, and for whatever reason, the Republicans would give the governor everything he wants, half-cent sales tax, whatever. This is my question to you, and I will take a break. What does it really fix? Does it fix the unfunded accrued liability? Does it fix higher ed? Does it fix K through 12 where we last? Does it fix our roads? What does it fix? What changes? If we got every tax they wanted, what changes? What's fixed? What drives us to number one to be the best? Tell me, anything?
No.
Help the bond rating some because it is...
No. Well, the only reason it would help the bond rating because we would have a predictable revenue stream.
So in other words, they have even more money. They have even more money.
Yeah. Exactly. So the bond rating agencies just want to know we have predictable money, and there's other factors. Our debt's a factor, and you asked me about what do I see? Well, I see debt, and debt is a cancer to any organization, and government's no different.
John Schroder, our state treasurer, our special guest. Hope you folks are listening. All he's doing is being honest. We're just not real honest in the media. Print media especially, and our elected officials, especially the governor and co-governor, they're not being honest at all. Hey, John, I appreciate you being blunt with us. Somebody did write me and ask, let me see if I can get this for you, and I apologize. They asked, what is the net worth of bonds owned by the state of Louisiana? How much Louisiana gets in federal dollars for all the state programs? I don't know if you can answer either one of those, but I'm throwing it out there.
Well, it's two different things. You know, our bonds really have nothing to do with the feds. We get federal money in to the state to operate, and it's you and I've had this discussion. I think it's probably around $13 billion now.
Yeah, I think what it is, it's 42% of everything we got coming in. So if you got a $30 billion budget, due to numbers, it's $14 billion to $16 billion state money. So yeah, pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty close.
It's in that range.
But you know, if you stick to the feds, and they used to say we get more federal money, one day we may. That means when the federal government cuts money out they don't have anymore, and they don't have it anyway, $21 trillion in debt. Then all of a sudden, if you're 42% of your budget is the federal money, and let's say they decide to do just a 10% cut, and you get $14 billion. You get cut $1.4 billion. How easy will that be to balance the budget, John?
The federal government's $20 trillion in debt.
Yep.
They can't. They're on an unsustainable track as well. And we're playing with fire, especially under a Republican administration in D.C. They could cut funding to the states at any time,
yep.
And we've become so reliant on federal money. I get so tired of hearing, well, we need this, we need that, because we're going to lose the federal money.
Yep.
Every single person that comes through the Appropriations Committee has the same exact argument.
Yep.
The problem that we have fundamentally is that we cannot control our growth, and our growth grows faster than your ability and your personal wealth. That is a fundamental problem that we can't seem to get this governor, or did we have the previous governor understood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think these governors in some areas are very similar. Yeah, some areas they may not be, but very similar. But it's a concern. You're getting to look at it from the deal. Now, the other thing, and this is going to go right into what you talked about, the Medicaid expansion. I don't know if you saw the report that was put out by LSU. That Bill Edwards and them ran out there saying this is a $380 million economic giant, 19,000 new jobs. All that stuff is ludicrous. That you cannot, if that is true, when will the rest of the economy move along with Medicaid expansion? And it's not true, John. That has hurt us. That's why a lot of our money's being eaten up at right now.
It's an unpredictable program, and even the rating agencies for our bonds, and this is just not in Louisiana. you could read summaries that the rating agencies put out, and one of the things they talk about is the unpredictability of the Medicaid program, and what's that cost going to be to the states, because the costs are spiraling. Moon, our total budget in Louisiana, if it's $30 billion, like $14 billion of it's spent on health care in this state.
Yep.
It's gonna totally crush everything else, all the other needs, just health care.
But John, they have the governor and the co-governor Darden and the people in the printed press rave about Medicaid. And it's no way for us to sustain that. That's what blows my mind. It's absolutely 100% going to crater us. And yet they brag about this. And that's why when they came out with this report, it was an economic engine. I thought, holy cow, getting money from the federal government is an economic engine? That's ludicrous there. That's way over that's so political to it's not even funny.
Well, again, it just goes to show the different worlds that people come from and what they learn and what their experiences are in. They believe that government is the answer to all of our ill wills, and I would tell you that I don't look towards government to fix anything. Government. I tell people this time, government doesn't do anything well. It's your money. They can't even spend it right. Yeah. They know how to take it, but they don't know how to spend it right.
Yeah. I'm still trying to come up with the idea of how does me and you having less money in our pockets prosper us?
That way. And the people of Louisiana voted for that Constitution Amendment, and that's why you have to have a 2/3 vote. So you have to have a super majority to raise people's taxes in Louisiana.
Thank God.
And you don't have a super majority of people who want to raise taxes in Louisiana.
Got to go. John, thank you. We'll do it again soon. All right, quick break. Be right back.